In 2015, viewers are welcomed into a sci-fi adventure where a young woman discovers her destiny as an heiress of intergalactic nobility and must fight to protect the inhabitants of Earth from an ancient and destructive industry. This tale begins in Russia. Newly widowed, a young woman smuggles herself onto a cargo ship, giving birth to her daughter Jupiter along the way. The main character narrates, "I was born without a country, without a home, without a father." Jupiter being born in a cargo ship on the Atlantic is symbolic for Americans being born under maritime law. During the spiritual revolutions of the 15 and 1600s, all people were concluded to be vessels sailing through space. Our bodies are the ship and our spirit is captain. Maritime law is considered to be a feminine law. Water is associated with femininity. The mother of the zodiac is the sign Cancer, who is also associated with the moon, pearls, and ocean. Under maritime law, fathers don't sign the birth certificate. Only the mother signs, and she signs with her maiden name. Instead of the father signing, the doctor signs. The doctor, a contracted and licensed employee of the state, takes the place of your father on the birth certificate, making the state head of household and you a bastard child. A bastard has no inheritable blood in him, and therefore no estate can descend upon him, and has no inherent birthrights. The corporatized government has claimed your estate, along with converting you from a private common law being to a public corporatized employee. When born under maritime law, you're born without a country, father, or home. In the following scene, the viewer is taken to another planet. One can tell it was a high society that has since fallen. We see three sibling nobilities of the Abrastix dynasty. Turning to Kalik, Titus asks her if she has ever seen a harvest, hinting to the desolation of the city. Kalik answers no, never, but I hear they feel no pain. The eldest chimed in saying, most of them have miserable lives. What we do to them is a mercy. With this short scene, we know that these three elites are responsible for the desolation of the once high society, and they have done this many times before, feeling entitled and righteous in doing so. The next time we see Jupiter, she is a young adult working as a house cleaner with her mother and aunt. They work from dawn until dusk, day in and day out, but are still poor. Jupiter notes several times that she hates her life. While Jupiter was at the hospital, she was attacked by aliens who were sent to kill her by the elitist siblings. She was then rescued by another alien named Cain Wise, who then took Jupiter to a safe house in the countryside. Once there, Jupiter was surrounded by honeybees. Seeing this, Cain and his two companions bowed, calling Jupiter their majesty. One of the many symbols of royalty is the bee. Their reprieve didn't last for long because two more groups of aliens came after Jupiter. This time, one set captured her and took her to Kalik, who lives on the planet Saturn. Upon arrival, Kalik informed her that Jupiter is the reincarnation of their mother, who is queen of the most lucrative planets in the universe. Because of this, Jupiter is actually the heiress of Earth. Before the queen died, she placed Earth into a trust for a time in the future when she would reincarnate and reclaim Earth as hers. Once Jupiter reclaims her title, the trust which holds Earth will belong to her instead of the oldest brother, Alem. If you remember my Swiss Army Man video, I mentioned the straw man. In America, natural law, also known as the law of our Creator, is the highest form of law. Under natural law, the premise is that one is not their name. If you existed before you were given a name, and will continue to exist even if your name changes or you go without name altogether, logic prevails. You are not your name. Names are a fiction of man, a tool used to label items, happenings, and way of getting one's attention. Names are not given by the Creator, and therefore are not real. Names only exist so long as man exists to say them. Your upper and lowercase name is title to your estate. Because you come from the earth, you yourself are considered to be the agricultural estate. Your estate was then placed into a foreign situs trust, where it was capitalized. The trust is foreign because you were sovereign before you joined the federal state. When one comes of age, you register your estate through voter registration and Social Security. The Sestike Trust is then solidified. All registered and licensed property owned by your all-capital letter straw man is actually property of the maritime government. This name is the contracted maritime employee, not you, the living being. When one learns the public rules, one can better navigate the sea of commerce, thus tipping the scales in your favor. In order to reclaim her title, Jupiter and Cain fly to the Commonwealth Ministry on the planet Horus. Once arriving, Jupiter was greeted by a lawyer who will help Jupiter through the ascension process. The lawyer walked to the front desk of the first office, exclaiming that Jupiter is the reoccurrence of their Lady of Brass Sticks, Sovereign, and they've come to claim her title. The following scenes are of the three of them going from one bureaucratic office to the next, trying to get Jupiter's paperwork in order. Jupiter eventually succeeds, reclaiming her title to Earth. In this short scene, Jupiter becomes a secure creditor. When taking this journey, one will have to record roughly a dozen documents and make sure they're filled out appropriately, as well as sent to the appropriate offices. Jupiter is then captured by the youngest brother, Titus. He takes her to a storage room where he shows her vials filled with a glowing blue liquid. He told Jupiter that each vial comes from the bodies of 100 people, and Earth is a farm. We've seen several times that the elitist siblings are only interested in making money by the purposeful collapsing of societies. Jupiter is then invited to negotiate with Elem, who had been in control of Earth up until she reclaimed it. Elem told her that he would spare the life of her and her family if Jupiter gives him title to Earth, but she refuses, and Elem wages war against her. There's a reason this option was never mentioned in school. Human labor, and thus our lives, are the cash crops of all globalized nations, including America. Our original maritime and admiralty laws have been perverted into a means of creating indentured servitude under the guise of American freedom. Through becoming a secure creditor, one reclaims their dominion and lifts the chains of indentured servitude, regaining their prosperity. At the end of the movie, you can see the sun rising in the east, representing springtime, symbolizing a new beginning and prosperity. Before I conclude, I wanted to touch back on the symbolism of the Commonwealth Ministry on the planet Horus, where Jupiter reclaimed her title. Horus is the Egyptian version of Aquarius, which is ruled by two planets, Saturn and Uranus. If you remember my Little Mermaid and Hellenbach videos, we know that Saturn is symbolic for government and business. When corrupted and overbearing, it's known as Satan and the Beast. Uranus, however, is the humanitarian and is symbolic for Mother Earth. As of December 2012, we entered the age of Aquarius, where there is a battle between Saturn and Uranus, which is Satan and Gaia, empire versus the people and Earth. By pushing maritime law back out to the ocean and taking more personal responsibility in our legal affairs, Jupiter was able to facilitate a world with opportunity instead of a system based in servitude and death. I would like to thank everyone for watching and take care. Love and light.